Story 1. We were playing the game of life and he was the police officer. The rule is, if you spin a 10, he gets your speeding fines. I literally pulled open my button-down shirt, exposed my breasts and said, "What can I do to get out of paying this?" He said, "Ma'am, I am an officer of the law. Are you trying to offer yourself to me?" A couple of days of flirting and suggestive conversations later, I literally had to spell out that I was interested in him. We've been together 6 years now. Story 2. I'm the guy in this situation, but I couldn't help sharing this story. In college, this girl I was really into asked if I wanted to hang out at my dorm, drink, and watch Netflix. She came over, and we were watching and drinking on the couch in the living room, per my suggestion. Things were going well, and about an hour later, she said, "Oh, let me see your room." So we went to my room. She took her shoes and socks off and immediately sprawled herself out on my bed and said, "Oh my God, your bed is so comfortable." I responded with, "We live in the same building. It's the same bed as yours." She left about 10 minutes later. Story 3. He told me my hair looked nice. I said, "I bet it would look nicer with your hands in it." He said in a very confused tone, "You want me to style your hair?" Edit. Glad one of you all thought my mixed signals were worth silver. Story 4. When my boyfriend and I had just started dating, we were lying down watching a movie. This was a small bed, and he was being respectful and giving me space. I kept wiggling backwards so I could get closer to him, and he kept inching backward too, since he thought I was just trying to get comfortable and he was in the way. He ended up sitting in a chair next to the bed. 3 years later, we are still together, and I still think it's pretty funny. He told me that when he was in the chair, he purposefully left his hand next to me in case I wanted to hold it, but I guess I missed that sign too. He didn't get out of the bed because he was uncomfortable. He truly thought he was taking up too much space and didn't realize I was trying to cuddle. Story 5. A couple of weeks ago, to my boyfriend of 3 years, me, undresses and lays naked on the couch, waiting to make love. Him, makes a dumb joke, "Oh, you're naked. That's so strange." Me, dies a little bit inside. Thanks for my first award. Guys, glad some people thought this was funny. Story 6. After chatting for hours on top of a mountain from sunset until around 2 a.m., sharing a blanket, me leaning my head on his shoulder, telling him he is attractive, etc., he turns to me and says, "How do you tell if a girl is into you?" Story 7. Reading these posts has gotten me even more confused. I am a guy in my 30s. Basically, 70% of the top replies have happened to me a lot, except the super obvious ones where the girl is making a physical move like hugs or kisses. But the couple of times I've actually made the move, nope, they just want to be friends. I guess. Story 8. I'm a guy, but I once had an experience where I took the hint but still got rejected. A girl asked me if I had lost my virginity yet when we were in high school. When I said I hadn't, she said that I could practice on her whenever I wanted. Mind you, we were walking home after school because we lived close. I tried to act on this hint when we got to her house, and she said she was only joking and doesn't want it to be weird with us as friends. Story 9. Before we started dating, I told my current boyfriend, "I love you." And he said, "Ah, I love you too. You're such a good friend." The whole time we thought we were both friend zoning each other. We wasted half a year going in circles, shaking my head. Story 10. Guy here. I was invited back to study by one of the girls in my class at her apartment. We're about half an hour in, and she says she might take a shower. I'm like, okay, kind of random, but okay. Anyway, she starts telling me the door to the shower is broken, so do not come in. She says it 3 or 4 more times. Again, I'm like, okay. It's weird she said that multiple times, but okay. An hour later, the shower is still running. I can hear her singing and humming away, so I know she's okay and hasn't drowned. Thinking, gee, that's a long shower, though. The water goes off and she comes out dressed and says, "You didn't come in?" I'm confused because I'm like, what on earth? She told me not to. She sits back down, clearly distracted and not wanting to study. We wrap up after 5 minutes. I drive home. A friend asks me how study was about a week later, and the situation, which I hadn't given a single brain cell of thought to since. I explained to him. As I'm saying it out loud, the realization hits me as to what a big fool I am. Story 11. So, answering on behalf of my late wife here, I am quite clueless. She and I became friends very quickly, but I didn't realize she had a significant crush on me. I thought she was out of my league, and apparently, she thought the same about me, but she couldn't ignore her feelings. She would touch her feet to mine while we talked, ask detailed questions about me, and gave me her phone number with the line, "Contact me if you want pizza and intimacy." We went out for lunch. She offered something intimate for a soft drink, and she was very insistent on getting a meat lover's pizza when I asked what she preferred for watching a movie later. After the movie, while she was in my bed, I simply thought she wanted to stay warm and cuddle, but she walked into my bathroom without clothes, and I was quite surprised. She kissed me and straightforwardly said, "I want you." A regular romance story there. In my defense, she had a very unique sense of humor, and I thought she was joking. It felt so natural with us being friends that I didn't even consider there was potential for more until she directly told me. I had some difficult past relationships, and I thought romance required a lot of effort and waiting on the other person hand and foot. But she was different. That's why she was the one I kneeled down for. Advice for the ladies. If my wife saying, "I want you," got through my famously thick skull, I think as a last resort, that'll get through to anyone. Story 12. I asked a guy at a festival to come take a shower with me. He didn't get it. He just repeated there was only one free shower, and I was like, "Well, they are big. I'm sure it's fine." And he just looked confused and told me I could go first. We became close friends since that happened about 2 years ago, and this summer I spoke to him about it and he really had no idea. He did the biggest facepalm I've ever seen. Story 13. Before my boyfriend asked me out, he kept hinting at the fact that we were both single and everyone thought we would be cute together. I was like, haha, yeah, not realizing he was trying to ask me out. Story 14. I'm not as brutally upfront as some people, but mine happened yesterday. How do I know a girl is flirting with me? He asks. She touches you a lot while you two are talking. I cannot relate at all. That never happens to me. I'm sure it does. I tell him and hit his arm. I can't think of any time that's ever happened. Story 15. For Valentine's a couple of years ago, I mailed my husband a package. The note said, and I quote, "I want you now." I was ready to spring into some extra fun, sexy time whenever he opened the package. I had to sit him down and explain a couple of hours later. He was like, "Oh." Story 16. On our first date, my current boyfriend and I went out to dinner, to a bar, and eventually back to his house to watch scary movies. After hanging out for almost 8 hours at that point, practically cuddling into him the entire time we were watching movies, dropping as many hints as I could, around 3 in the morning when we were both fighting to stay awake, I finally had to look him in the eye and ask, "So, are you going to kiss me or not?" Though he was totally oblivious, it did show his good heart. He was about to let me fall asleep on his couch and spend the night without even trying to kiss me. I knew he was a keeper after that. Story 17. When I was about 35, I lived in a beach town near a university. My neighbors were all college kids. Next door were 2 college girls. One was always flirting with me. One hot summer day, she turned up at my door in nothing but a long t-shirt. She asked if she could hang out in the air conditioning. I said sure, and she came over to the sofa I was sitting long ways on and laid with her back to my chest and asked if we could snuggle. I was okay with that. She then asked me to rub her belly, which I did. As you can imagine, after about an hour, I was getting a little worked up and touched her breast while rubbing her belly. She jumped up and stormed out. I was like, "What the heck?" She later said she didn't see me like that. I asked her why she'd show up almost naked, lay between my legs like couples do, and ask me to rub her belly, and then get upset when I try to progress things. She said she looks at me like a big brother. I was like, "What the heck is your family like?" Story 18. I had a girl invite me around her house once just to show me her posters. They were all of Harley-Davidson motorbikes, and she said she's never ridden a Harley before. Awkward silence, and after a few other short bits of small talk, I decided to be on my way. 2 years later, I'm sitting on the bus and realize what she meant. Harley. Ridden a Harley. My name is Harley. Story 19. I am a guy, but I can share my tendency as the guy that missed the hints. I went to a store where there was a girl I liked in college. We used to small talk while I browsed and never bought anything, being a poor college student. This time I came into the store and she said hi and we chatted a bit while I shopped. She complained, "I'm going to be home alone tonight. My family is out of town." I replied, "Oh, that's too bad." She said, "I'm off at 5 today. What are you up to tonight?" "I'm up for anything." "Oh, nothing. Just sitting at home and watching a movie." My brain must have completely self-destructed because the conversation ended there. I never saw her again after that. She either quit or was avoiding me. I must have been in a daze from school to miss that cue. Story 20. We were discussing costumes, and I sent a picture of me in my bunny suit and said I'd need help out of it. His response was telling me he hoped my roommate was home or that would be unfortunate. I had to tell him I was implying I'd like him to take it off me, and it took him a minute to catch up. Edit. For those of you concerned, it was very much a suggestive picture. I'm not sure it could have been perceived as just friendly. And no, you will not be getting proof of said picture for those in my direct messages. I was very much ready to hit him with the bat of bluntness because we get along great, and he'd seemed flirty with me before. Story 21. I invited him over to watch a movie, eventually laying my legs across his lap and flirting heavily. After 4 movies, I finally had to make the move. For clarification, we had been flirting via text, exchanging intimate messages, and I had previously told him face-to-face that I liked him and was giving him the green light to make any move. Still, nothing happened after a month of dating. I seem to always take the lead on things, and although I like assertiveness, I wanted to give him the opportunity to feel like he could be in control, that it was okay. I was very direct many times, and we had several discussions about it. Still nothing. Even after I finally made the move, I had to literally say, "I want to have sex with you." Story 22. I once was modeling clothes I planned to take on vacation for my boyfriend. After showing off a couple of outfits, I told him to close his eyes and changed into lingerie. He opened his eyes and I asked him what he thought. His jaw dropped and he said, "You can't wear that outside." I put my clothes back on. Story 23. He invited me to his house to watch a movie after a few dates. He ended up playing League of Legends for hours while I was lying in his bed and asked him many times if he would like to join. Sorry, just one more match. We dated for 2 years. Story 24. We matched on Bumble, a dating app where the girl has to talk first, and I started a conversation with him. He thought I just matched with him because we were friends. No, it's a dating app. We didn't start dating until almost a year after that. We are married now. Story 25. What girls don't realize is that guys have to ride an incredibly thin line between being a dog and being a gentleman. Girls want a guy who won't paw at them the whole courtship, but who will recognize little hints and make the first move. It's an incredibly nerve-wracking position to be in. My advice to girls would be, don't drop hints. Say what you mean. Story 26. As a guy, to any girls reading this, you have no idea how easy it is to miss hints. Please be more obvious. We are also really bad at being scared of taking signals wrong. Edit. Waking up to 37 new messages gave me a small, "What have I posted?" heart attack this morning. You are all very kind. Story 27. I went out of my way to come in early and talk to this guy every day for like a month before someone else told him I was into him. I also repeatedly told him I liked him. He thought I was just being nice. Story 28. A girl came to my house once and spent the night. Around the time for bed, she told me she doesn't sleep with a top on or underwear. I told her that's okay. I'll sleep on the couch so she can be comfortable. She called me from downstairs later that night and told me she couldn't sleep and she was cold. I figured, well, obviously, you're naked. So I gave her another blanket and went back downstairs. Edit. Obligatory thank you for the silver, and I'm glad everyone is laughing at my pain. I've tried responding the best I can, but some of you guys are getting weirdly mean, and it kills the mood. Story 29. A guy I'm currently seeing invited me camping earlier this month. We were cuddling, and I noted how nice the showers are in the bathroom at the provincial park. I said, they're really warm and have lots of space for 2 people, trying to hint for him to join me. This man, without missing a beat, says, actually, you could fit like 10 people in those showers. We laughed about it really hard the next weekend, and he said, I knew what you were getting at, but my brain just wanted to answer it logically. Story 30. I used to be oblivious, probably still am. There was a girl at a local grocery store who was flirting with me, but of course I didn't get it. After quite a bit of this, I left town for a few months and we were corresponding via email. I can't remember why, but I was asking her a string of silly questions like, why is the sky blue? Chicken or the egg first? Where do babies come from? She answered them all, saving where do babies come from for last and answered it with, when you get back I'm going to show you. I got that one. Story 31. My buddy in college was stressing over when to make the move to kiss a girl he liked. While we encouraged him to not wait for the perfect moment and just go for it, he admitted he should have tried to kiss her when they were in the shower.